Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite Dragons podcast. My name's Elijah, and unfortunately, Jules could not make it into tonight's show. He's got a couple of things on, but with me today, a very special guest this episode, none other than the NRL Roast. Roasty, how are you doing, bro?
Good, Elijah, mate. Thanks for having me on. It's a beautiful day in rugby league. We've got more trials kicking off tonight, which is good to see. So, footy's nearly fully back.
For sure, for sure. Before we start, this podcast is brought to you by UDJ. Skip the expensive DJ, pick your songs, set the vibe, and control everything from your phone. They provide all the gear and handle setup and pack up. Mention this podcast and get 25% off. Your music, your way. Check them out at udj.com.au or 0404 233 234. Now back to the podcast. Roasty, anyone who follows the NRL and has social media knows about you. It's not that big of a deal to say that you're probably one of the biggest content creators out there. But where did this come from? Where did the NRLs how did the NRLs come to be?
Mate, it started from purely like a bit of boredom. I have a couple of young kids, and I took some time off to spend at home with them while the wife went back to work, and I just was looking around creating content. Started around like sort of MMA. I was doing a massive fan of the UFC, and I was doing MMA content. We followed this guy who was doing all these different stuff, and he actually was called MMA Roasted, and he was doing content. We're like, oh, we could probably do something around that, around NRL. And when I just started with a couple of mates, we just started tweeting, and then they sort of dropped off, and I sort of kept going with it. Started creating content for Instagram and Facebook, and it just took off. Like I started back. It's 10 years this year. I started back in 2017. 2016 was the first piece of content I put out, and then 2017 was when the roast started. So 9 years. But just started just making content. I was a big fan of US sports as well, and I could see what they were doing that was taking off, and no one was really doing it here. So I started doing the head swaps and video edits around different pieces of content, and it just took off from there. Like on Facebook, I think I had like 50k followers in the first year, and just kept on growing. And then eventually, got over to Instagram. It was still around the time when Instagram was, they were just sharing photos of when you went on holidays and things, where it wasn't what it is today. But sort of started changing it up and just doing different things and humorous content. And it got to a point where it got big enough that I was like, you know what, I need to start doing not just humorous content. I'll start doing media around the end of games, like score updates and things like that, and just grown from there. So purely out of boredom, and I saw an opportunity where some of the content that was going big overseas could be done here, and jumped in and just at the right time, I think.
Yeah, mad, bro. In terms of your content, how do you usually come up with your ideas? I see some people online have maybe like a list of rough ideas but how do you personally come up with your ideas, and how do you execute them?
When I'm, you know, just watching different content. Like I watch movies in a different way. I'll sit and watch a movie, and I'll be watching a scene, and I go, how can I use that in relation to a team winning or a team losing or something, happening around the game. And I also try and tell a story. So like if it revolves around game content, what happened in that game that people, if you're not watching it and you're, out at a party or whatever, and you're sort of checking updates on your phone, how can I convey a message of what happened in that game through just one piece of static content or a video, and sort of engage viewers that way? Because you look at all the a lot of other pages, they're just posting score updates, just standard pics with a score. So it's like, how can I stand out and be different? Fans will still go to that. They'll go to their own page, their own team's page, and share a score update. But it's like, how can I stand out so that every fan from every team can look at that piece of content and go, that's funny, that's relatable. I know mates that really enjoy that and share it. Trying to tell a story, but mostly, I'll just watch movies. I'll watch other content to get ideas and try and convey them then through my content to tell a story.
Yeah, mad, bro. Because you were so big in the NRL content creation, I was gonna ask, is there a dream collab you'd like to do? Obviously, it's hard for you to have a dream collab in terms of, because you're one of the biggest out there. But in terms of like, is there like a player team or some. You've already collaborated with the Dragons. I mean, recently. That's probably your answer, or is there a different? You know.
No, it's not like, well, it would be if I hadn't already. If you're talking about the next dream collab,
Yeah.
but yeah, like the Dragons was a dream collab, and I
Yeah.
was lucky enough we're doing some stuff this season, so looking forward to that. But like I've what I thought about was, I actually run some social content for my local footy team, the Park Spacemen. So I collab with them as well. So I was like, I've done it with my local footy team. I've done an NRL team that I support. Last year I was lucky enough to be the Blatchies Blues ambassador for the New South Wales Blues. So I've done it at a state level. And so I thought about it and I was like, probably the next dream collab would be the Australian Kangaroos going international. So
Yeah.
obviously they went over to the Ashes last year. I didn't go over, but they've got the World Cup here on home soil at the end of this year. I thought, done local, NRL, state. The next step is international. So I'd love to do an Australian Kangaroos collab, whether it's just one piece of content or I'll get in there and do something with them throughout the whole campaign, whatever it is. I reckon that'd be the next. That's probably on the next bucket list item.
Yeah. What is some advice that you would give a young kid who would be interested in, content creation if you had something that you would have told yourself before you would have entered the content creation? Is there something that you would tell, future content creators out there who would be looking to do this similar content as you? Any advice?
Yeah, just be authentic and try and get your face out there as much as possible. I know when I first started, like I didn't really put my face to a lot of things. It was just, I was like, no one wants to see my face. They just want to see the content that I produce, and it was almost a bit of fear, anxiety of getting in front of the camera. But it's like, I don't really have an issue with it now. Like, I'll do as much as I can. But I would just say, be authentic, try and be different, but not to the point where you're being different to what you want to do. Like, do the content that you want to do. Don't just do it because you think this is what other people want to see. Do what you want to do, and people will connect with that. They'll connect with the authenticity of that person. So, yeah, try and be original and do it because you want to do it. Don't think you're going to do it and you're going to get paid straight away. A lot of people look at me and go, "Oh, he's got X amount of followers. He's probably getting paid heaps." I'm not. Trust me, you don't get like just from pure content. There's not a lot of money to be made. Like,
Yeah, it's more
so
sponsorship, right? Like
yeah,
it's more.
exactly, yeah, and it's hard too when you're dealing with NRL, the actual content of the players and the game and videos and things like that.
Yeah,
You,
for
you
sure.
can't use that to
Yeah,
to put sponsors on. So you've got to try and build yourself up to a point where people want to come and see you, because then sponsors can sponsor you. So don't yeah, and it's taken me years. Like I said, I've been doing it for 9 years. I'm making money now, but it's not like retirement
yeah,
money. So yeah, do it because you want to do it, and be authentic and be original.
for sure, bro. That first segment's out of the way. Now we'll get back, into the season tonight. Because this will probably be released in about 2 weeks. Tonight is the Titans versus Dolphins, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the trial. Yep.
on the trial. So, kind of, we had a few trial games last week, but I feel like this week is where officially the NRL season starts, in my opinion. Straight off the bat, what's your biggest hot take of the season, Roasty?
Do you want it about the Dragons or
Now,
just
I
or
reckon
the
we'll
season?
go NRL wide. What's your biggest hot take that will get people will
Oh,
ruffle some feathers?
ruffling some feathers. I'll throw it out there that I think Brisbane might drop out of the top four. I don't know if that's hot or not, but I just think they were only just in the four last year, but they obviously going to win the premiership. But I don't think I think the comp's just going to be that tight
Yeah,
that they went on that run at the end of last year. I think they could drop out of the top four. Like I still think they'll be one of the teams to beat for the premiership, but
yeah,
the quality of this comp this year is going to be so tight that
yeah.
from first to six is going to be 4 points. So I think they could drop out even to the lower end of the top eight.
For sure, bro. I think with the Broncos, I feel like they're a momentum team. As we saw last season, I feel like they peaked at the right time.
Yeah,
I feel like
100%.
they timed their run perfectly. If they
Yep.
didn't time their run, I feel like because a lot of last season, not a lot of last season, but they looked very ordinary in patches last season. But they were just lucky they peaked at the right time and they came home with a strong finish.
Yep.
So I feel like that's a very reasonable but bold take from you there. Um, what's one team that you see everyone is overrating that you personally don't believe is that good?
Um, it's a funny thing. I don't know if many people are overrating teams this year. I think they're sort of,
Mm. It's
if we
if
look at
anything.
last season, like I don't really have a big change in the top eight.
Mm,
Even if you look at like the Sharks, no one's overrating them. They just think
yeah.
they'll sort of finish the same position they sort of did last year.
Mm,
No one's saying the Canberra Raiders are going to, get the minor premiership again. Panthers after last season, so it's really hard to find anyone overrating a team
well,
this year. Do you know? Like,
we'll say who's the most underrated then. Who do you reckon people are overlooking that you think
I,
is a
I
sneaky?
well, I've got the Dolphins coming in to the top eight. I think that seventh and eighth position is very open.
Mm,
I think there's always traditionally three teams from the top eight from the year before drop out, and obviously three new ones come in. I
mm,
think it's still going to be really tight. Dolphins, could make the eight. I think maybe the Eels, if Mitch Moses can stay healthy. Like I'm obviously not talking Dragons. Like we're getting the
yeah.
minor premiership and we're winning the comp, but if there's a team I think maybe underrated, probably the Eels just because of where they finished last year, and if they can keep
Yeah.
Mitch Moses on the field, they got Yona Pezzett there. They've still got some quality around the park, so
Mm,
I think they could make a run. And Mitch Moses, he could, if he stays on the park, could be close to a Dally M. I think he could
for
make him
sure.
get into the eight.
For sure, bro. Since you mentioned the Dragons defeated the Knights 28 points to 18 last week. Rosie, what were your thoughts? There were some good signs, some worrying signs a little bit, but I feel like for the most part it was all right. It was a good performance, I feel like.
Yeah, good strong squad to start off with. Obviously, probably the standout was Cade Reed.
Mm,
He just he dominated and showed that he's going to be a future superstar.
yeah.
But yeah, look, I think even the bookies sort of wrote us off. We were close to
They always
$3
do, Roasty.
outsiders.
They
Yeah,
always
and
do.
I know it's a trial. I know it's a trial, but I was just like, you know what, Newcastle, they got the wooden spoon for a reason. But I thought it was a good quality hit out from the whole team. There's a sort of good play all around. There wasn't that many mistakes. It was a trial, so you expect some, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like we played horrible. And I say that when Josh Kerr off the first hit up, he drops the ball, but he made up for it. So yeah, no, look, I was surprised. Like, I'm not surprised. I was genuinely excited about the win, and I think it's good to see that we're putting this sort of quality to start off
Yeah.
with. It shows like we need to be serious about this season. So
For sure. You mentioned Cade Reed. Now, Roasty, with it's an unfortunate blow because if there's one team I want to beat, it's probably the Dogs. They're up there, you know, and it's such a blow losing out because I think they reports came out recently that Little will be back for round two.
yep.
So if you're Shane in round one, what do you do with that? With that seven, with that nine, with that like, what do you do with the whole spine? What would be your starting spine for Vegas in 2026?
Starting spine. So
Yeah,
obviously you got Gutho there, number
yeah,
one. You got Cook at nine.
yeah,
I'd look at probably Flanagan and Atkinson in 6 and 7. So
yeah,
Atkinson leading the team around the park.
yeah,
Um, but then obviously you want Little will come in at the 14 in round
yeah.
two, so he's out for
Mm.
round one. I don't I
We're
don't
gonna have
know if
much
you'd
more to
put
get.
Cade Reed like I
We're gonna
would
have much.
take him. I would
Yeah,
take him, but with this new six-man bench, I would probably have him on the bench, and this would be the sentiment I'd have for the whole season. Have him
mm,
there as a bit of a and Guru actually he said it really cool. He called it like a break the glass
yeah,
player
yeah,
as an emergency. Who are you going to break the glass when you need something special? Whether it
yeah,
be 10 minutes into the second half, 10 minutes from full time, whatever it is, you need something to a bit of an explosive. And I would have him there where you go, you know what, save that force
yeah.
sub. and bring him on if you need it at a certain point. So I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd have him at the 14. I would say if Little's only out for the first week, you just say Cook. You're playing 90,
Yeah.
and just have him there. I wouldn't worry about having a second hooker there in the 14 if you're going to
Yeah.
have Cade Reed as the fifth or sixth sub, because he could come
Yeah.
in and do that. He could play a little
Yeah.
bit of hooker if you need to, or provide that spark, whatever happens in the game.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I feel like last season when you like if you, in 10 years time you're going to look back at the 2025 season and you're going to look at the ladder and you're going to see Dragons finish 15th and you're going to say they must have had a shocking year. But to
Yeah,
me, I feel like that doesn't reflect how we played. It doesn't, and a lot of that comes down to we had injuries. Certain players were missing, and 6 points from 6 points or less, or something. There was a start like 8 games, or like
there was 10 games that we lost with. I think it was like 10 points or less. And I think it might have been eight games or eight and less or whatever it was. But
yeah,
10 points in this is could have been a try in the last 5 minutes to extend it out to 10. So it shows
yeah,
how close we were in so many of those close losses. So
yeah,
you're not going to turn all of those around, but if you turn even half of those around, well, you're in the 8. If you turn all of them around, you're in the top 4. So
exactly.
to say, it looks like we were bad. It wasn't. There was times when we beat Brisbane
We beat
up
Brisbane,
there. We
Sharks,
beat
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Like,
So we beat
yeah,
some top 8 sides. Obviously we need to be consistent, a bit more consistent, but
mm,
to show that we weren't far away in some of those losses, if we can tidy that up. And we had
mm,
new players come in as well. So we had
yeah,
a new squad last year. They're more
true.
well accustomed with, what we're doing, the other players in the squad. So it's still a lot to be positive about for this season.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned consistency there, but would you say consistency was the biggest issue last season
Yeah,
that stood out to you?
I
Yeah,
think there was only twice we put 2 games back to back wins. So, you can't do. I think in the first, we beat Melbourne, then we lost to Para, and then we beat Manly and someone in so a
Dragons.
4 game stretch we had 3 wins. That was our
Yeah,
best period. That was early on, and so signs were looking good. Ultimately, the two wins we had after Melbourne were teams that didn't make the 8. But
yeah,
the fact that we only put 2 games back to back twice through the season is just not good enough.
yeah.
We need to be winning more. We need to win more at home as well. Like make home, a bit more of a fortress.
Cobra
Make
used to be a
teams.
fortress, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
2010, it used to be. People
yep,
would talk about 2010 Cobra as if it was, I don't know, it needs to be more of a fortress. I feel like right
yep.
now people are just going to Cobra and think, oh, it's like our home
Easy
ground.
win. Yeah, yep.
Dragons versus Dogs last year, round one. There were more Dogs fans than Dragons, like
I
legitimately.
know. I didn't like that. Yeah, so
Like we
need
need
to
to
turn
make
that
it a
around.
fortress,
Yeah.
bro. We
In
need to
saying that, the Bulldogs are a bit of a when they're going bad, the fans aren't there, but when they're
exactly.
going good, which
There
they
you
were,
go.
the fans turn up. Which is, I'm not bagging them out for that. I'm just saying, and it shows if we're not if we're going bad, we're not selling tickets, they're going to snap them up, and then it's effectively an away game. So,
Yeah,
if that's another thing that we're a weakness is fan support. Just try and get there week in week out because otherwise the other fans will. And I know it's hard when we're going through a tough period. You don't want to turn up and watch another loss, but sometimes that turning up can those little 1%ers that turn up and help the team. So
yeah, 100%. Um, well, that being said, how do you see the Dragon season panning out?
minor premiership, major premiership. No, look, yeah, we're still gonna struggle. Like I
Mm,
think we can make the 8 if we fix our consistency.
yeah,
Um, our leadership is probably one of our biggest strengths,
yeah,
right? We've got some of those old heads there, so if we can keep them on the park, which they were last year, I think Gutho and Cookie were played all 24 games. So
yeah,
um, keep them on the park, keep that leadership. They're there, they've been there. This is their second year now to lead the team. So I think there will be games when we will struggle, but if we can turn around some of those close losses like that we
yeah,
had last year, be in the contention for the 8 in the second half of the season,
Yeah.
then we're playing with a bit more positivity, a bit more confidence, which is another thing that was lacking last year was
Yeah.
our
For sure.
confidence. In saying that, we had a lot of young guys come up, which showed major confidence.
Yeah.
They'll be better for it this year as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can provide a better, a bit more attack and
Yeah.
get us into that 8. Oh,
For
I can
sure.
see us in the 8. I can see us around the 7th and 8th. And that's
Have you?
not just because I'm a Dragons
Yeah.
fan. It's
Yeah.
because you've got this squad. You've got Atkinson coming in. What he's been showing in preseason, just from the content that I've been seeing, the way he's been talking. There was a mic'd up thing the other day. It was
Yeah.
like, man, that got me pumped. And it's sometimes it's just a standard thing, but some of those little standard things. Well, I'm bagging Flano either, but if he's not the biggest talker and Atkinson comes in, he's a bit bigger talker, then that's maybe what we need to spark it. So hopefully, I can see this in the 8.
Yeah. What would you say was what would you say is the biggest weakness still in the squad heading into this season? Like what's your biggest concern right now that you have?
Well, like we spoke about, the consistency and the confidence.
Yes. Okay.
If we can fix that, build off the wins. Sometimes I don't know if the other Dragons fans feel this, but I watch it and go. Sometimes when we're playing a big team like the Storm or Brisbane or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ones, I'm like, you know what, we can win today, and then we pull out a win, and then the next week we're playing a Parramatta or the Titans, and I'm like, oh, we just beat Melbourne last week, and we should be able to beat them, and it's like we don't put in a performance which is what we should. So I think it's almost like the team feels like they get a bit too much. They get almost cocky or overconfident. I shouldn't say cocky,
Yeah.
but they're just like, okay, yeah, we beat them. We'll beat this next team. Where
Yeah.
they've got to go, no, we're on the same level as these lower teams at the moment.
Yeah.
We need to be really on our A game just to beat them. So,
Sure.
if we can fix that, man, geez, the season's looking good.
Yeah. You spoke about before how it's such a tight competition, and that's like me when I was making my ladder prediction. It took me like an hour and a half just to sit there and think who's gonna come first, who's gonna come 17th, who's your early tip for the comp. Show off for that.
Actually, I really like the Panthers.
Yeah, mine
Yeah,
too.
look, they had a really bad start last year.
Exactly.
Finished, well, I think maybe what was it, 7th, and
Yeah.
then made it to a preliminary final and only just got beat.
Yeah.
So they're not done.
No, I'm not.
They've got a great system in place, and it's almost like, do you know what? That loss, it'll
Yeah.
spur them on a little bit. They'll be like, you know
Exactly.
what? We don't
Yeah.
like losing. We don't want to. So they'll be. I've got a feeling they'll be there on grand final day. I really don't mind the Roosters with DCE coming in. They've lost a little bit of depth and lost a few players, so it is a little bit worrying. But I don't know, just him coming in. I'm not calling him Cooper Cronk at all, but it just feels like
No, it
an
does.
experienced half coming in
It
that it's
does.
like what I can see them just going a little bit better than last year.
Yeah.
Again, like Brisbane could, they'll go on a run again. So,
Yeah.
but I'd say my best tip for the comp would be the Panthers.
So you're speaking about the Roosters. How good is it that the Dragons only play Roosters once this season? I can't remember the last time it happened where the Dragons played the Roosters once in a season. Like it just
No, we
ends up
normally play them twice. Like
exactly.
I
It's
I
good
will
for
say it's
us.
good that we don't have to face them because
It
it's been a
is.
couple of years since we've beaten them.
Yeah.
But then Anzac Day is always a great game. But it's sometimes they are a really good rival of ours. So
Yeah.
sometimes you do like to see them, and you want to
Yeah.
beat the best as well. But
Yeah.
hopefully we've got a game against someone else now that we can maybe get a win instead of them. But yeah.
For sure, bro. As I spoke about earlier in this pod, recently we saw your collab with the Dragons as they released their Vegas jersey. Now, talk to me about how that collab came to be and how much did that mean to you to officially, collab with your childhood dream?
Yeah, look, pretty special. And it wasn't long after that happened. I got sent a family photo from a cousin of me when I was probably six, 7, and I didn't make a 6, 7 joke, did I? My kids are going to hate me for that. But I was around that age, and I had a Dragons jersey on, and it was just like, you know what, like it's a massive full circle moment to to be working in content, something that I absolutely love with the team that I've supported, basically since, I won't say since birth, but like pretty much. And yeah, it was very special. And how it came about was I just had some friends who are currently doing some content with them, helping them with their content stuff over the next few years.
Yeah.
And he just reached out to me and just said, "Hey mate, I know you're a fan. We just want to shoot the shit, and what would you like to see as a fan and stuff?" So we just jumped on a phone call, had a chat, and we were just talking. And then he's like, "Oh, there might be an opportunity if you're going to Vegas that we could do some stuff." And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So jumped in. We're doing some stuff this weekend as well. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll just whatever you want to do. Like, I get to make content with my club. Like, here's a couple of ideas that I'd like to see, and whatever. So I'll throw it their way, and if they want to do it, let's do it. If not, well, we'll do it with someone else or whatever. But it's a dream come true. Like, just I get to make content as, like, even just saying that, I get to make content. It's pretty cool as a job.
Yeah, I know.
I don't feel like I'm working most of the time because of what I'm doing, but then to get it to do it with you, I get to go to a footy game, get to walk around, talk to the fans, and get to watch a footy game, get paid for it, which is great, and making it with the team that I support. So yeah, pretty cool.
What do you actually? I didn't have this written down as a question, but what do you think of the people that say that being a content creator is harder than a 9-to-5 job?
You're kidding yourself. There is. I will say this. So my wife will say differently, because you don't switch off. That's the hardest thing. So content's not just 9-to-5. Content is nearly 24/7. But it's not. It's not harder than going out and serving beers at a pub till 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not harder than working in like I worked in finance. I worked in banks. That's considered a 9-to-5. That was 8 till 7 sometimes, right? And you're stressing. That's stressful. Yeah. So it's my job now is way easier. Even though I work more hours, it's still easier and fun. So yeah, people that say it's harder than a 9-to-5, I get where they're coming from, in the fact that you're probably doing a bit more work, but have a think about what you're doing. You're doing if you're not making content, like I said to you, what I would say to someone younger, you should be making content because you want to make content. So if you're making content and you consider it a job, then you're doing the wrong thing.
For sure.
It's definitely not harder than a 9-to-5.
Yeah, for sure. Rosie, I'm going to give you 5 Dragons, St George Illawarra Dragons legends, and you're going to have to blind rank them for me.
So I hate these. I did said hate these because I know I'll stuff it up. But I think I know, like, I've got to leave the number 1 open for a little bit. I can't give it away to the first one.
Okay, so straight off the bat, we'll do a Maurice 1. We'll do Ben Hunt.
So what are we doing? We're doing
1-to-5.
This is just 1-to-5, just Dragons ex-players.
Yeah, Dragons,
Dragons,
right. And Illawarra Dragons players. So Ben Hunt.
Come on. Look, I'll go 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll say Darius Boyd.
Oh, premiership winner. Yeah, 3.
We'll say Ben Cray.
Oh, Benny Cray. The big ranger. Jeez. Yeah, no, look, I'll go 2. Benny Cray's a legend, and I'm going to be working with him over in Vegas, so I've got to put him up high. I'll go number 2.
Tyson Frizzell.
Oh, I can't put him low. I can't put him number 1. Big Frizz. Oh, he's a legend. He was one of my favourite players too. So, but I don't know who you've got as number 1, but I'm going to have to throw him at 5.
Lachlan Maranta. No, I'm joking.
Give me someone good.
Brett Morris.
Yeah, easy. Number 1. Yeah. How many tries he scored? Happy with the list. Yeah. Happy with the list. Right. Yeah.
Sweet. There you go. Roasty, who your Dragons Rookie of the Year, Best Player, and Most Improved?
Okay, Rookie of the Year. Well, I don't know if he qualifies. I don't know how many games he played last year. Halangahu, would he be still? Yep. Because I think he's only played like a handful of games, so I think under the rules he'll probably still be eligible for, like, he'd still be eligible, but I would
Yeah,
still consider him a rookie, right? So
yeah,
he just some of the stuff he's shown last year,
yeah,
he's going to be, it really, some of these forwards coming through gives me like early 2000s vibes where we just
for
had
sure.
a stockpile of forwards coming from down south. So I like a lot of these young fellas, but I think Hungaru is probably going to be my pick for rookie of the year.
Yeah. Your most improved.
Most improved,
Bit of a hard one to pick. I
yeah,
feel.
I would probably. I reckon Toby Cashman's in for a big year. Um, yeah, I'll go Toby Cashman for most improved.
And your Dragons player of the year. Who do you reckon will be the best on the field?
Look, there's a couple.
Mm.
Oh, no, I'm gonna have to go the cap, the king
Mm,
at number one. Yeah, I'll go
fair,
Clint
for
Gutho.
sure. Um, I just want to make a point on this. Viewers who are watching, I don't think you guys realize how good the Dragons are going to be in 2027. Now, am I being biased? No.
2026.
No. Oh, 2026 we're winning the comp, but 2027 we're winning the quadruple, and you can't even do that in the NRL. I'm just that confident. 2027, our forward pack is going to consist of the Couchmans, Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart, you got Halangahu, Loco, and we've got Big Keon coming. I
Yep.
don't think you guys are ready for the avalanche that Dragons are about to put in 2027. Like I'm so excited for 2027. I know this is a 2026 preview, but 2027 you can't help but look at it and be like, wow, that's a guaranteed. If we don't make the A in 2027, we should be relegated because that's a guaranteed top 8 spot in my
Yeah,
opinion.
almost like this year's a bit of an entree. Get the young
Exactly.
guys a lot more experience, and then when Keon comes in 2027, it's like our forward pack should be well experienced, well managed, and making a big run.
I reckon the Dragons probably have a top 4 forward in 2027. I think that's a top 4 forward pack in the comp in my opinion.
I
I know
reckon
that
they will
all.
be they will be talking about it because of the stocks we have. Like I said, it's
Mm,
really in a couple of years' time. I think we'll be talking about comparing some of them to some of the players we had in those early 2000s. So
sure.
looking forward to it. I think you're right. 2027 this year, like, obviously still excited about this year, but yeah,
Yeah.
2027 should be pretty big.
Over the weekend we got some crazy out of nowhere news that Payne Haas signed with the Rabbits. Roasty, just tell me your thoughts. How that came out of nowhere. Usually there's been a bit of speculation if there's a signing. This came out of completely left field, and then 20 minutes after it was actually officially confirmed. So it's
Yeah,
just crazy.
I it's very rare this ever happens that no one's got a sniff of it. The first thing that was posted was from the newspaper. Like, there's normally a tweet or
Yeah.
someone spotted someone somewhere, whatever it is. The fact that this was kept under wraps, or even like Brisbane, because of how much they own the media up there, them leaking something
Yeah.
to try and stop it. It must have happened
Yeah.
very quick, but I was honestly floored. Like, it took me about 10 minutes to really sit down and go, because normally, like, certain signings happen, and you go, okay, I'll try and get a piece of content. What do I do? I sat there for
Yeah.
10 minutes before I even decided to start making something, because I was just like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
is this real, or is this, are we being
I
pranked?
thought it was a fake tweet at first.
I honestly thought, like, I went to sleep and woke up and it was April 1st, and this was a big joke, because I was like, how is this happening? I was in my head, I was sure, like, only a couple of months ago or a month ago, it was like he'd extended for a year, and I think
Exactly.
that was a report, but it just wasn't finalized. So yeah, it was absolutely crazy, and probably, I think we'll look back in a couple of years and go, this will be one of the biggest moments in. We talk about certain signings going to teams, like, and you look, Souths have got a heap of them. Sam Burgess went to Souths. We had Greg Inglis go from the Storm to Souths. Even Craig Wing or Brad Fittler switching teams. Glenn Lazarus going from Canberra to Brisbane back in the '90s. So I think it's on par with some of those big ones. And this is before he's even played a game, because you just know what he's going to do when he gets there.
Yeah.
You know he's not going to change. Even when the Broncos were piss poor in 2020, he was still a standout. And so Souths are a decent team. They'll have some signings there waiting for him. So he's gonna perform. We're gonna be talking about him in 10 years as one of the greatest.
He's what I like to call like a plug player. You can put in any system and plug him in there, and he'll perform exactly the same. Some players fit to different systems and don't perform as well in others. And this guy, you already know he's gonna like average 300 meters per game. No, not 300, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
he's still gonna kill it at Souths. But I was so shocked when I found out because I don't know why there were reports that that Payne Haas was going to re-sign. I was like, yeah, he's probably going to stay at Brisbane. Then out of nowhere, Payne Haas signs with the Rabbits, and Rabbits fans must have it like it's so lucky. They get Keon, like they have Keon, and Keon leaves, and then they're like, how can we replace Keon? We'll get someone that's probably 2 times better.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like it's unfair, but good on South to keep that on the wraps, and fair play to them. What a signing, man!
I know. It's going to be scary in 2027 against them. So,
Roasty. Now I've heard a bit of rumors. I don't know if it's true. Is there any chance that you and Guru have the same dad?
There is a big chance. I know my dad spent a bit of time in the eastern suburbs, which Guru claims he's not from, but or doesn't support. But my dad did spend a bit of time there. He was a builder, so he was there. He could have easily fathered a few children around that time. So I'd love to have a DNA test to see if there's any relation, because everyone points it out. I get confused with him all the time, and he tells me he gets confused. So quite a big possibility we could be twins. I'll be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he can be Danny DeVito.
That's a fair enough answer, bro. Who would you say right now is your current favorite Dragons and non-Dragons player? So we'll start off with Dragons.
Dragons player, my favorite.
Yeah.
Current. I'd have to say Jaden Sewer. I love what he brings each week. And just like he's just a quality player. And there's not much in between his sort of bad game and his best game. So. He's just, apart from being a Queenslander, I would have to say he's probably my favourite.
Yeah, and now non-Dragons?
Non-Dragons? I'm going to go big Alex Twal. I'm a massive Twally fan.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I know, his try-scoring drought, I was a big pusher of that early, when it was happening. And, he's a guy... Almost like you meet, like what you call your meat and two veg sort of player. Like he's just a standard meal, but he just turns up every week, does his job, hardly misses a tackle, and he seems like a really good clubman as well. A guy that you'd love to have in the locker room. So, and funny. Like I've seen some videos of him talking. He's got a bit of a very humorous bone, and just a great guy. So I'll go Twally.
Yeah. Now to wrap it up. Now by the time this podcast is released, the Charity Shield would have been finished. Hopefully the Dragons won that. But Roasty, it's this weekend. How do you see this game panning out? Holmes today came out. It came out today that Holmes will be missing out due to just hamstring caution. I don't think anything's wrong with him. But just for your prediction, how do you see the Dragons playing this weekend?
Not a great sign to see Valentine home out on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
No, look, we're one of the benefits of this game is this will be our second trial, and we've named pretty much full strength squad compared to the Souths who that's their first trial and they have a name. In saying that, we've seen so many times where this has gone the other way. Souths could come out firing really early and put us on the back foot. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we get a really good start, put some points on the board early. To the point where we can, even rest up a little bit and get some of our guys, because ultimately it's still a trial, right? It is a charity shield. It is a little bit, there's the prestige of the trophy and stuff like that. But again, it's a trial, and we've got to be looking ahead 2 weeks for Vegas. So There's still spots up for grabs, so Flano's going to be trying to get some players on the park. So hopefully we can get some points on the board early in the first half. Second half we can ease off a little bit and get some players some game time. So I think ultimately there'll probably be a lot of points in the game. I could see it like a 32 to 22 sort of game where we can put some points on the board in the first half. Second half they'll come back, but we can still hold on. So high scoring game. I think there'll be plenty of points, but ultimately in the end, about 10 points in it.
I can't help but talk when talking about this game, but thinking of last year, how I remember watching that first half, 34-0 or whatever it was, and me thinking in my head, we're going to be in for a good season, man. The Dragons are going to. Oh my, we were so wrong, Roasty. I cannot believe they got only the Dragons could get fans' hopes up this high for only them to come 15th or whatever. Like, 34.
I know someone actually messaged me the other day and they called it hopium, where it's the hope that kills you, right? And they call it hopium. So, look, hopefully, I still want to see a great turn. I want to see great performance on the field, but ultimately we're not. This isn't what we need to, and we've got to get out of that as fans to go. This, if we win here or a big performance doesn't result in, a good year, and that's why everyone sort of makes fun of us and saying, when we have a good win in a trial, it's like grand final. I posted up the other day. It's like, grand final tickets, or this is our grand final in February, and it's true. Like, but this is, you want to get excited about the games, but you've just got to realise that a big win here doesn't result in top eights or premierships. Sure. So but we want to see a good performance because we want to see these guys perform well to go to Vegas and have them rewarded with that, and then come home and do it week in, week out.
Yeah. That being said, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Saints podcast. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Rosie, thanks so much, brother, for jumping on.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Great to chat, and go Dragons 2026, brother.
Up the Saints.
Up the Saints.